morning, Penn High School. I'm Kate Gonzalowski, here in studio having a chat with the sponsor, Mr. Cantoni, and his students who recently competed in the Model UN Conference at Notre Dame. Thanks for coming in, guys.
Thank you.
No problem.
For having us.
So what is Model UN all about, and why do you compete in conferences?
Well, it's a club that models after like the actual United Nations, and so like you take a country, they give you a problem, and usually like using your country's perspective, you have to like solve that problem or try to come up with a way to solve it the way the UN actually would.
Yeah, and it models different branches of the entire United Nations. So, for example, there's the Security Union and also the World Health Organization, and everybody's put in a different organization. And
So it's neat because you're not really learning about the United Nations through a textbook. You actually get that one-on-one experience.
It's a good way for the kids to network, learn how to debate in a diplomatic way. It's really exciting to see all the kids, and especially how excited they get about the conferences.
Yeah.
It's a really neat experience to see.
It's good for you to see as a coach the bright look on their faces as they're competing. How many other students competed in the conference?
We had about 20 students from Penn High School go to this conference. In general, when we normally have about 2 to 3 conferences a year. We also compete at the University of Michigan and Michigan State. We generally bring about 40 to 50 to those conferences.
How did you feel competing in the conference?
well, the atmosphere is very relaxed, but we also had a sense of urgency, and we managed to complete the discussion like very efficiently and quickly. So we had time left over to discuss other topics that weren't mentioned initially. So.
Yeah, like you would think that it's like a lot of public speaking, so you might get nervous, which at first I think you do get a little bit nervous when you're in that committee and everyone's being really formal, but once you, like as Sid said, like once you guys come up with a couple resolutions, a couple of solutions to problems, then everyone starts getting a little more relaxed and you can just kind of talk to people like you just meet a lot of new friends, and it's a comfortable environment after the first day, probably, after the first day.
You guys won some very cool awards, I understand. What were those awards and how did they make you feel?
My award was the Best Position Paper Award, and it was satisfying to win that, and yeah.
And then I won Outstanding Delegate in the DISEC, Disarmament and National Security Committee. And winning that was kind of a surprise because I hadn't really prepared that much for this conference. Like I did my best while I was there, but it was a surprise and it was really exciting and I was proud.
What was the hardest part for preparing for the conference?
It was, for me, one of the topics was really broad, and so you had to do a lot of research into that, and it was sometimes hard to find information on certain topics, just depending on what they are and how the country that you chose, how they've been addressing the issue. So.
I agree. Like if your country hasn't been involved in an issue, but that's the issue that your committee is supposed to be debating, it's kind of hard to join in on the discussion without like improvising a little bit or like making an inference as to what your country would believe on that issue.
Do you know the issues before you actually go to the conference?
Yeah, like they give you there's usually about 2, probably. Yeah.
About 2 to 3.
Yeah, 2 to 3 topics, and they give you a background guide, just basically outlining what the topics mean and what kinds of areas you might be debating within those topics beforehand.
So at least you're not going into starstruck.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? What was your favorite part in the conference?
Just the entire discussion and like debating the different topics with other people who had researched their countries was very interesting. And even at the end, we went into what was called a crisis committee. since we have finished, discuss our 2 topics really quickly, and that is very interesting since you have to think on the spot and react to different situations.
Yeah, that's like really fun when they do crises where you have to just like come up with a solution really fast to something that you weren't expecting. Like they give you the topics beforehand, but sometimes they give you an unexpected problem that you have to solve, and there's usually a time deadline on that, so it creates like a sense of urgency. That's really fun.
What is the time if you had to?
It depends on like what crisis that they give you, but usually it's like some immediate. Like for me, I was in disarmament, national security committee, so a lot of it was about like weapons were being fired in some part of the world, and we immediately had to stop the violence that was happening. So it's like it's not like necessarily they give you a set time, but it's usually like on a quicker time frame than the big issues that they gave you before.
How did you grow throughout the conference?
I felt like I got better at just speaking in front of others and being able to infer on like what a certain country's point of view is on different issues, and just thinking on the spot when like you were called upon to make a decision or answer or address a certain problem. So.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of like networking. It's kind of like a social activity as well as like just a political research activity. So you have to be willing to just like go up to people and talk to them and ask them how they feel and what they think. And I think like I learned how to do that through Model UN a lot more than I would in my normal life.
I've had a lot of kids over the last couple of years really become excited about it because they, like Renee said, a lot of kids learned how to communicate and how to approach other people about topics, or even just anything in general. So it's really cool to see a lot of kids that go from more of a quiet personality to being very outgoing, because that's what this conference does, and it's really exciting to see.
And so this is something that not only they can use now, but as they grow and get older, they can use in the real world.
Absolutely.
And use their skills.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really rewarding to you guys and to the coach to see. So, well, that looks like all the questions I have. Thanks for coming in, guys. And good job on all your accomplishments and your awards.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks.